Welcome to the Journey Girl Magic Podcast. I am Nikita Burks-Hill, life coach and your personal journey guide. This podcast is for the wanderers, the doers, and action takers. I'm here to empower women and women of color to live their best lives by showing up, being vulnerable, practicing gratitude, being a badass, and most importantly, enjoying the ride. This imperfect podcast is for you as you live your life and become the best version of yourself. So let's journey together. Let's get started. Hey everyone, it's Nikita, and welcome to another episode of the Journey Girl Magic Podcast. Now, I don't know about you and where you live, but here in Georgia, it's cold. Now for us, 50-degree weather is cold, but that's still cold to me. My wife and I were talking the other day about this cold weather and how it makes us want to travel and how we wanted to take one more trip before the end of the year. So naturally, cold this time of year, the only place to go is the cabins, right? Now there are two types of people in the world. There are beach people and then there are nature folk. We are those nature folk. We are cabin people. We reminisced about prior times when we had gone to the cabins and how amazing and secluded it was. You know, a small house surrounded by acres of forest, no reception, the ultimate getaway. So as we talked, we laughed and reminisced, and then our conversation slowly led into the ideas of souvenirs. And I asked her what she thought was the most common souvenir that people buy today. I said keychains or a t-shirt. She said postcards, and I think she's kind of right. And I agreed with her in saying that I do think that the most common souvenir when traveling are postcards. So later that night, as I laid in bed, I began to ponder why. Why were postcards the go-to? Sure, they were cheap, but why else? I thought about potential reasons, and I think because they capture a moment. The ideal dream picture when you think or hear of a place. So when I say Aruba, what do you think of? What comes to mind? Beautiful white sand beaches, a perfect sun, crystal clear water, the ultimate oasis. Now, if you've ever been to Aruba, just those descriptions may bring back fond memories and all the good vibes of when you were there. Postcards capture memories. So how does this relate to everyday life? Besides the fact that it's reminding us that we all need a vacation. What else? Every moment in life is precious and it matters. Each moment means something to someone. Now, obviously, it's damn near impossible to hold on to each moment that we experience, so we typically gravitate to the big ones. Marriage, the birth of a child, graduating from college, the loss of a loved one, divorce. These moments are all stamped as memories in our brains. They're our own little postcards. So I wanted to share with you today about a recent postcard that I created. Halloween was a couple weeks ago, and my son was supposed to be Miguel from the movie Coco. Last year he was Maui, this year he was going to be Miguel. But of course, I waited to the last minute and assumed that red jackets would be plentiful in all the stores and set out on the morning of at 6 a.m. to go buy one. Surprise, surprise, they were all out, and so I had to rethink my game plan. After a quick text exchange with my wife, we decided to go with a lumberjack. So I purchased a shirt and headed home. Once he was dressed, we realized that he looked more like a hipster. A hipster lumberjack. What the hell? Oh well, we went with it. Happy Halloween. But I have that memory. But that postcard is not the one I want to focus on. It's the one that happened the day after. It came from when my wife forwarded me a picture she had taken. It was a simple picture of her and our son outside his daycare, but it really struck me. Maybe it was the simplicity of it. It was like I saw my son through new eyes. It's actually our cover art for this episode. He was no longer a baby. He was a freaking toddler and a growing human being. And in that moment, I realized that we were raising an actual human who would soon be an adult. I took a moment to take all that in and then responded to my wife with 5 simple words. We are making memories, babe. We are making memories. And her response was, "We sure are." Life is so busy nowadays that sometimes it feels like we are barely making it through. We are just focusing on getting things done and getting from one day to the next. If I were to ask you, what was the person that held the door open for you yesterday wearing? Would you be able to answer? Memories and moments are only for vacations and big moments, right? That's what we tend to think. That's what our lives reflect. So how do we change this thinking? How do we shift it? Postcards, little snapshots, intentional interactions, making it a priority to live each day with quality and not just filling it with quantifiable things. Now, a quick disclaimer. Postcards don't always have to be happy. Postcards are memorable. Sometimes some postcards make us cringe and they bring back icky feelings. We may want to crumble those postcards up or throw them away. Some moments we experience in life aren't fun, but they are life-changing, for good or for quote-unquote bad. They play a key role in who we are and how we got there. In the cases where you recall darker, weathered postcards in those moments, acknowledge them, but then focus on the lesson that you learned from them. Don't get stuck on memory lane. Instead, veer onto Lesson Avenue. That was a little corny, but you get my point. Now, with all this talk about postcards and memories, I'm not suggesting that you go out and create all of these memories just for the sake of creating them. What I'm saying, and the purpose of this episode, is to recognize and to slow down, to enjoy each day a bit more, to start your day with intention and then see where it takes you. When you take a second to think about what's happening on a daily basis, you'll be able to recall the moments in life a little bit more. Take a second and observe what's around you. What do you see? What do you smell? Who are you with? Sometimes you need to do more than slowing down and observing and making postcards in your mind. You need to know how your brain remembers things. Frankly, you just need to remember things. Are you a visual person? If so, then take a picture. Do you remember better when you write things down? Then start a journal or a blog. Take these moments and infuse them with intention. Make them count. Some examples of ways to do this is simply to create space for them to occur. Have dedicated family time each week. Start a family game night. Go on a walk once a day. Designate one day a month where you do something kind for someone. Take family vacations. Take a random day off from work and spend it however way you think of. It's important to live your life and make memories along the way. It's important to share your life with others. It's important that we cherish these memories. Life is short and time passes quickly. So I'm committing to collecting as many quality postcard moments as I can, and I really think you should too. So this was short and sweet, but I do have some reflection work for you. I want you to recall a postcard from last week, something that made you pause or made a mark in your day. It doesn't have to be this big, grandiose thing. In fact, I'd rather it not be. Think about something small, something intentional. Recall it and share it with us. What about it resonated with you? What about it made it stick with you? Head over to our free private Facebook group, Journey Girl Magic, and tell us about it. What you do today will go with you for your life, and the experiences you have will stay with you. Consciously and subconsciously, you will carry them around like postcards. And ultimately, it's up to you whether you choose to pause and truly appreciate them. So I hope that this episode, this journey, and this insight was helpful. And remember, your journey is what you make it. So why not have some pretty awesome postcards to remember it along the way? All right, y'all. Have a great week, and I look forward to journeying with you next week. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. I'm so appreciative and grateful for your time and your listening ear. Show notes for this episode can be found at journeygirlmagic.com/podcast, and by clicking on today's episode. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to the Journey Girl Magic podcast to be the first to know when a new episode becomes available. You can also leave a review and let me know how this podcast is helping you on your journey. I read them all. I look forward to journeying with you next week, and remember, it's your journey, so show up, be vulnerable, practice gratitude, be a badass, and most importantly, enjoy the ride. Welcome to your journey.